Alright, so today we're coming to you from a place called Wadi Qelt. This is honestly one of my favorite places in the whole country. Biblically speaking, this is the wilderness. When the Bible says, for instance, that Jesus was driven into the wilderness to pray, it would have been to a place very much like this. As a matter of fact, very, very close to here. Just to my left and down the hill is the city of Jericho. And where Jesus was baptized was just east of Jericho at the Jordan River. And so when it says he went out into the wilderness, very likely it was into these hills or these valleys right around here. So this is the wilderness. It's not a western wilderness with forests or jungles or something like that. It's a desert wilderness, and it's rough and it's hard terrain. It's rocky and it's hot and it's very uncomfortable. So this is biblical wilderness. So that's the first thing you have to wrap your head around. You know, behind me you can see the valley. It's called Wadi Qelt, and today it's running with water because it's been raining in Jerusalem and the hills above the last few days. So that's pretty cool. But what I really want to focus on today is I want to focus on the road. And so just behind the camera is the road. It's the ancient road that connected Jericho up to Jerusalem. So thousands of Jews would have to come every year, maybe hundreds of thousands even, would come down from the Galilee, down the Jordan River Valley to the city of Jericho. And from there they would sort of take a right and head up into the hills. And they would have to climb almost 4,000 feet from Jericho, which is actually below sea level, up to Jerusalem, which is maybe 2,800 feet above sea level at the Mount of Olives. That's the reason why the Bible says go up to Jerusalem. And so this was a road that was known to people, and it was known to be very dangerous. You're climbing a lot of feet, it's hot and it's dry and it's twisting and winding and it's dangerous, and it was known to have thieves and all sorts of dangers along the way. It's even called the ascent of blood. Even today in modern Hebrew it's called that. And so it was this place that Jesus chose to tell a story about. You know, we know that in the Bible it says that the most important commandment, the thing that defines Christian life, is the great commandment to love God and to love people. And the way you show your love of God is by loving people. And the ancient people, they knew this verse, but they defined it differently than us. They took it to mean your tribe member. They define neighbor narrowly. Some people even till now define it that way. And so it meant if you were Jewish, it meant you loved other Jews, and if you were Samaritan, you loved other Samaritans, and they didn't like each other very much. That's part of why they wouldn't just come straight to Jerusalem. They went around and went down the valley and made this climb, was to avoid one another. And so this lawyer comes to Jesus and he says, well, who do I have to love? Because he wants to justify himself, the Bible says in Luke 10. And so then Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan. He tells the story of a man coming up from Jericho, making this treacherous climb, and that he's attacked and he's left, to die by the side of the road. And there's no help here. It's hot and it's rugged and there's no homes. And you could imagine how desperate you would feel as heat exhaustion and dehydration crept in, and you had no one to help you. And Jesus tells the story of a Jewish man in that situation, and that the Samaritan stopped and said, I'll help you. Other people had passed. They didn't want to help. They were busy. They wanted to keep their purity. We're not exactly, they had other business. They just didn't care. But this guy stops and he pays the man's bills, and he gets him to a place where he can rest and recover. And this is the model we're given of how love works, that you love anyone and you love them extravagantly, even if maybe you ought to hate them. And so that's the story that's told here, and this is the setting for it. So that's really, really cool. I just wanted to share it with you guys. Thanks.
This video is brought to you by Jerusalem School Bethlehem Media Team.
Here at JSB, we provide a Christ-centered education to the community of Bethlehem. If you'd like to know about us more, please follow our social media or visit our website.
Stay tuned for our next episode of This is the Holy Land.